All right. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. Today is Monday again, and we have a workout to do. It's a little bit sunny out, which is good. Let's get started, and I'll tell you a little bit about my day so far. So let's get ready. Again, we're doing this workout together. It's going to be, about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to be doing my kettlebell swings, and you are probably going to be doing whatever it is that you do. So let's get right into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So we keep trying to figure this out. If you guys have seen the last couple videos, it's almost like I took the weekend off, and I took the weekend off not just from like putting more effort into the videos, but also paying a little more attention to to my nutrition. Again, we haven't really given up. This is not about that. It's about course correction. And I've been trying to, I guess in a way, get my head straight, trying to figure out how to take the next steps, how to start turning this into a longer term strategy, which I knew was always going to happen. Sometimes it's important to use one strategy to get started, and the moment that stops serving its purpose, then make a shift into something else. But I'm pretty new to all of this. I have more failures than victories under my belt. Is that how you say it? And so I'm still trying to figure out the best way to approach this. But I keep thinking about it, and as I think about it, it is difficult to, I guess, make the right decisions, because in my head, I don't know what purpose they're serving. And yes, of course, they're serving the purpose of becoming a healthier person and all of those things, but clearly if that was enough, we wouldn't have gotten here, because I have been perfectly aware of that always, from the very beginning. There are little mosquitoes all over. And these guys down here are no joke, because apparently there was like a dengue thing going on during the summer. Now, luckily, today feels like one of the very first true days of like autumn, winter-y. Temperatures were lower, and that was amazing. But I'll tell you in a bit. Let's get another one of these in. All right. $11, $12, $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, $20. So I think that I am starting to get to a place where I can figure out maybe what the next strategy is to keep this going. And if you're new here, if you haven't been with us before, I'm trying to lose about 150 pounds, roughly that much. And I'm trying to figure out ways to do it. And I'm not an expert, obviously, in losing weight. And like you, I'm navigating all the different aspects of losing weight, not just the physical, but mentally as well, because I believe that mental health is probably the most important aspect in any kind of health weight loss regimen. So paying a lot of attention to that is tricky. And so I make a lot of mistakes and I document everything, or I guess I try as much as I can, but I'm basically doing this every day. And to figure out what it looks like when you're having, what resembles a more normal weight loss journey for someone who doesn't have it all figured out. Because we usually tend to see people who've already done it. And so you see like, oh, look, this is how I lost 150 pounds. And, it's basically like a highlight reel for the most part. And so the idea is to, and when you see that, it's already worked. But then in retrospect, well, how did it work? And if that thing doesn't work for me, but it worked for you, then what will work for me? And that's when we feel lost, which has happened to me many times. So I'm navigating this in a way to show all the ups and downs, all the wrong turns, all the mistakes that are made, how shitty we feel, and the strategies that I'm using to hopefully be successful in the end with this, which is not in itself losing the weight, but becoming a healthier person. So this is why we're doing what we're doing. And today, every Monday and Friday, we do this together. It's one of the, I guess, not the first and not the only, but one of the more consistent victories that we're having throughout this entire process since we started doing this. Have not missed one of these workouts. So this is one of those things that is working for us. Let's get another set in. "21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And so that is the thing. So this morning I started trying to do something that I have wanted to do, but I struggled quite a bit with. So as probably happens to a lot of you, I wake up in the morning and the first thing that I do is grab my phone, which is like right on the headboard of the bed. And because doom scrolling, and that's when you're like mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds, is so detrimental to my mental health. I basically don't use social media apps because in one of many ways it can be just very detrimental to myself. But then I still feel that compulsion, that need to like do something along those lines. And so what I started doing basically ended up replacing social media feeds with news feeds. So I have the news app on my iPhone and just sort of, I'm not doom scrolling through social media feeds, but I'm doom scrolling through news feeds. And at the end of the day, it's basically the same thing. It feels like, well, I'm not wasting my time with stupid social media. I'm just wasting my time with stupid news. And people would argue like, well, I'm trying to stay informed. And it's not, I realize that it is not about the source of the content that you're doing it. I guess if that makes any sense, it's not that, scrolling through news feeds is better than scrolling through social media feeds or TikTok or anything like that. But it is the action, the compulsion, the inability to control oneself and just mindlessly do this. Oh, this seems like an interesting news story. I'll read it. And it supposedly was better than just like watching random TikToks. But at the end of the day, it's the same compulsion. It's exactly the same behavior. That inability to just be with oneself and need to do something, like this inability to just be with ourselves that I have such a difficult time with. And so every morning I would wake up, and the first thing that I would do, because I didn't know what else to do, I didn't feel like getting out of bed right away, is just starting to do that doom scroll with news feeds. And again, same behavior, different flavor, but it's basically the same thing. All right, let me do the next one. I think we're in 30. Yeah. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And so this morning, for the first time in a long time, I was able to not do it. And it was a great victory because I just sort of laid in bed, eyes open. I allowed myself enough sleep. And we've talked about this before. And yeah, I just kind of laid there for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But I didn't grab my phone and just kind of stayed there. I don't want to say I was meditating because I wasn't mindfully meditating in any way, but I was mindfully refraining from, is that the word? Refraining from grabbing my phone and going into the doom scroll of the news feed. And then the first thing that I did was get up, and I convinced Julima to come and walk around the plaza with me. And we went around and walked for a few minutes. I think we did like 1.5 loops of the entire plaza, which is, I don't know, maybe ended up taking 20, 30 minutes, something like that. And so something that, again, I keep reading everywhere that it's supposed to really help. Let me get one more and we'll talk about that. One, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And so, for a long time, I have read about the importance of getting sunlight basically as soon as you wake up. I've read it countless of times from a bunch of different people, different publications, etc. And so I thought, let's see if this helps. And instead of like planning for it beforehand, I just sort of woke up this morning and said, you know what? Let's go do a walk. And some days that feels so impossible, having enough mental energy to do it in the morning. And so we decided to go and do it, and we'll see. I think it helped. I think it probably helped. We'll see. I hope to continue doing it for the rest of the week. Just kind of wake up and go do the thing. But I guess at least I don't feel super sleepy right now, which is great. Just going from one, I don't know, just when I have that sort of sleepy, lethargic feeling throughout the entire day, I don't have that. And I don't know if that has to do with the fact that it is sunny out, and so that exposure. But then after that, I walked over to the pharmacy and I bought some vitamins that, I don't know, they seem pretty pricey here as opposed to in the US, but since, I guess, I work indoors, I don't get enough vitamin D. And so one of the recommendations is to get more vitamin D3. So I went and bought some capsules of vitamin D3, and they got 4,000 international units each, which according to the package is like 2,000% of the recommended daily dose. But I remember reading somewhere about how deficient we tend to be with vitamin D, and so taking a larger amount is safe, and they do sell it without prescription, so I'm guessing it's probably safe. Should ask my brother or my sister. Who, by the way, you guys have never met my sister. We should have my sister on the show because she has also dealt with weight issues. And so maybe we should have her on one of these videos. But anyway, so I went and bought that. And then the other thing is, being here in Buenos Aires, and I really don't know why that is the case, but seafood is not as widely consumed, nor is it widely available. Most of the stuff is like frozen, but I don't know, in a way that Yolima says that she doesn't really trust it. Because I know that, I mean, we're by the ocean, or by Rio de la Plata, which is where the river kind of comes into the ocean. But what they were saying is that it's so polluted that you can't really fish there, or it's not safe. And so if somebody knows about this, correct me if I'm wrong, but people were, someone local was telling us that. And so there's not as much seafood as widely available as there is meat. And so since my lipids are still a little bit higher and stuff, I decided to get some omega-3 fish oil to sort of supplement that. So I went and got it, and we'll see if that has any impact on things. Let me get one more set in here. $51, $52, $53, $54, $55, $56, $57, $58, $59, $60. And so I went and got that, walked over to the butcher and got some chicken for lunch. I'm thinking we'll make a curry today with all the different goodies. We still have some of the brown rice and quinoa mix that we made last week that we should go ahead and continue using before it goes bad. And so, again, I'm trying to find a rhythm, and I know that this weekend, technically, I mean, Saturday we had burgers, and, you know, yesterday we had pasta and all of these things. I'm pretty sure that I'm staying under my daily calories, even if the macros are not that great. I am staying under the daily calories because of my weight. My basal metabolic rate is pretty high. I think it's like 2,500 or something, 2,500 calories or something, like baseline. Like and this is all the different measurements that my ring does, and based on my weight and the scale that I had in the US and all that. And so it's like 2,600. And with everything that I'm doing, because I am being more active, I'm, consistently doing almost my 10,000 steps per day. And, we'll take a look at some of those numbers later. But basically, every day I'm being a little more active and I'm burning more. Some days my calorie burn for the day is in the 4,000s, according to these things that I'm measuring. And so I'm pretty sure that I'm staying under. And also the other thing is that I'm not drinking any soda, obviously. So overall sugar content is also down from, I guess, what has been in the past. And so I'm not being as strict, I guess, in terms of, or I guess in nutrition as much as I was being in the US, or as I wanted and still want to be a little more. But I'm also not going off the deep end. And so it's not like I'm gonna get McDonald's for lunch today. But we're having a nutritious curry with enough protein and healthy fats and vegetables and all that stuff. And so I keep working at this until I figure out my true North Star and redefine my why to give this another push. And you guys and I have been talking about it for a while. You guys know that I'm a numbers type of person. I put a lot of stock in that. It's a big source of motivation for me, that level of clarity that numbers provide. And so I'm thinking things are probably going to head in that direction. Let me do one more. I believe we're starting at 60. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. And so I remember when I started in the US and I was getting on the scale every day because we were just starting out, people are saying like, oh, you're gonna go crazy weighing yourself every day. And yes. And then when I started weighing myself again here and I was filming it every day, somebody else was saying like, you're gonna go crazy weighing yourself every day. And yeah, I guess it does have an effect when you get on the scale and the numbers don't go down, right? And I'm assuming, not assuming, it's a great source of dissatisfaction for most people who are trying to lose weight and get healthy and all that stuff. And for me, it is too. But I also have to consider the alternative, and you might too. That for me, when I don't get on the scale, it's like Schrodinger's cat. Did I lose weight? Did I not lose weight? I don't know. For all I know, everything that I'm doing is not working. And the uncertainty of that also has very severe negative effects if a clear reason for sticking to the plan isn't there. And again, I keep emphasizing this quite a bit, that sure, rationally, logically, we know that, yeah, well, I gotta lose weight, I gotta get healthier. But how do you quantify that? And how do you do it in a way that speaks to your heart? That really makes it so that your heart is in it for a real reason. And for me, is being able to quantify the progress that is being made. Seeing that I am, in fact, getting closer to my goal, to the things that I want to do. And so I notice that on the days when I don't get on the scale, it's almost like, it's there's a very interesting saying in Spanish. It's called ojos que no ven, corazón que no siente. Like if the eyes don't see, the heart doesn't feel. And it's exactly like that. If my eyes don't see it, my heart doesn't feel it. And so if I get on the scale and things aren't going well, yeah, maybe it hits and you're like, it's disappointing. But then at the same time, is that giving me a little bit of motivation to be a little bit better today? Because things are not going in your direction. As opposed to, if I don't see it, then it's almost like I'm ignoring it. I'm choosing to be ignorant about it. And of course, that's not the way that we want to be, but I'm also trying to be realistic about how my brain works and ways to make it happen. So this is where we are in terms of that thinking. And again, all of this are all of these things that I'm constantly thinking about and taking into consideration as I start developing the next chapter of this process. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. And so I'm thinking that I probably need a little more of the measurements. And don't get me wrong, measuring is fucking exhausting. It really is. It gets to me. But there has to be some kind of healthier balance between not measuring at all and measuring too much. And I'm trying to find it. And I welcome all suggestions, but please don't be offended if I don't take up your suggestion. I will take all suggestions and consider them and eventually make a decision that I feel works for myself based on what I feel. It's not always logical, and that's something that I always emphasize in these videos, is that the logical thing might be the best, possible way of doing something, but if it doesn't somehow speak to my heart, or, and everyone's heart is different, if it doesn't speak to that, then it's not going to happen. And if you need to take a slightly different, less optimal route to try to keep making some forward direction, then that's the way we need to go. Even if it's not optimal, even if it's going to take longer, even if it's, in the long term, a more difficult road, it's about overcoming that initial resistance, that initial hurdle in any kind of way. And I believe that I am doing that. I consider all of these things that I've been doing, the good and the bad, the ways that I'm figuring this out, and as long as I'm not falling into complete despair for weeks on end, eating fast food every day, blowing through my calories by 10 a.m., et cetera, this is forward momentum. Even if for a few weeks I'm only maintaining this weight, I'm not gaining. So I'm also trying to convince myself, not convince, but remind myself that that's the case. Even if, I don't know, some people in the comments don't agree with it. And yeah, there's a lot of insecurity, in all of us. There's a lot of insecurity around in me. And so sometimes it throws me off a little bit, and I keep trying to figure out the best way to go about it and not let it get to my head. But, it's tricky. It is very tricky. And as I promised originally, I'll show you what it looks like. It might not be pretty and you might not agree with it, but this is what it looks like. This is the entire thing, day by day. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. 10 more, you guys. And so, yeah, I was able to get up this morning, not look at the phone, and go for a walk. Let's see if we can maybe try to keep this going. I have a little camera that maybe I can use to take you guys with me. And so I'm trying to figure out how we're going to be able to do that. So you guys can come with me, do some walks together. I mean, we're only walking around the plaza, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And so we'll figure it out. But I would like, as much as I can, to implement that into my life. That habit of you get up and you go for a walk somewhere outside, get some fresh air. Also, it's really lovely that temperature is going down and we're getting that wintry vibe. Let me see what the temperature is right now. I have this in Celsius. It's 53 right now, so it's not super cold, but it is more fall-y. Although it really felt with the wind. Feels like 51 with the wind. It's making it feel colder, but it was pretty good because then, walking around in the summer, it's like I'm gonna start the day feeling hot and sweaty, and that usually makes me unhappy. All right, last set for this, then we'll do our little arm curls. And 1, 2, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. All right, and now let's do these guys. 3 sets of 20. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Whew. And again, this is an attempt to continue to keep my heart rate up a little bit and work out something other than this area. Some of this, I've always felt that I had these little butterfinger arms. I don't know if this is the right way to work out the muscle a little bit, but it's something that I can do with zero friction. This is probably the most important lesson that I'm learning right now, is if there is too much friction at first, it ain't happening. So this is an exercise that I can do. It keeps my heart rate up a little bit more, and there's no friction. And the more friction there is, the less likely you are to do it. So for me, this is important, to be able to do it with as little friction as possible. And by friction, I mean, if it's too cumbersome to figure out how to do right, my brain will harp on that and eventually discourage me from doing it altogether. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, fuck. Whew. All right. And so this is one way to do that. Having as little friction as possible. And so when we started out with the kettlebells, I bought a kettlebell back in the US a long time ago. I remember it was probably when I read it in, I believe it was Tim Ferriss's book, the 4-Hour Body. And he was talking about how, the kettlebell swings were like one of the best exercises for fat loss and building muscle in an efficient, quick way. So I remember I bought it years and years ago. I mean, when the book came out. It's actually at the time, you guys have met Laura. Laura and I had a company that sponsored the book launch. And partially, we were not the only ones. And so we got invited to the book launch party in New York, and it was like a big thing. And I remember like being pretty into it and reading it and thinking, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And it was, probably didn't last long at the time, but it was something that I had. And so when I started doing this again, it was the easiest thing. The whole point of me telling you that is that it's something that I already had, and I could start with that. There was very little friction. If I had to figure out like buying it, figuring out how to do it, like that's too much friction to start with. I wanted to start as frictionless as possible, and that's something that I had at home. And so I was able to do it because I had it at home. It was very easy to start. And then when I got here, I already was in the process of doing it. Like I was already pretty into it. So the process of buying new kettlebells here in Argentina was not as much friction because I already kind of knew what I was looking for. Even when we had some extra friction because they didn't have the exact weight. It was either too low, like the weight was too little, or it was ridiculously expensive. And so I basically got two separate kettlebells and kind of put them together, and I'd never done it that way. I didn't know if it was going to work, and like that would have been too much friction if I didn't know what I was doing. But since I already knew what I was doing, you're able to take on a little more friction. The hurdles can get a little bit bigger if you already know what you're doing. But to start out, it had to be as frictionless as possible. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm getting into the habit, the routine of doing the arm curl, some kind of arm exercise. Even if it's not optimal, I am removing the friction by doing something with as little friction as possible. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. Fuck. Okay. We are done. Let me figure out lunch and I'll take you guys. What am I saying? Let's go have lunch. See you in a bit. All right, and it's time for our healthy lunch. We're gonna be using a lot of the veggies that we still have left over from last week. So Jolima was kind enough to chop them up for me, kind of get everything ready. We're gonna make a little curry, like a Thai curry type thing. We got some broccoli, some cabbage, some scallions. Let's see, I see some carrots, some peppers. I see an eggplant in there, some onions. So, and then we bought some chicken. I went and bought some chicken. So we have a chicken breast that we chopped up. It's weird how the lighting changes when you do, because it's got a different frequency. Anyway, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it. All right, and let's get started with this. We're gonna heat up some ghee, and so this, ghee is usually used in Indian curries, but this is more of a Thai curry, but whatever, we're free flowing here. We're just doing. I'm gonna take off my ring here. And then the thing that, in order to turn this, you gotta do it with a lighter, and it always freaks me out, and Jolima's the one who does it. Because I always kind of burn myself. I'm a big puss. She's the one who takes care of it, but I gotta be a big boy. So we're gonna use some ghee in order to start cooking the veggies and the chicken and all the goodies, and then we're gonna start adding all of our things. Okay, I don't know where to put this. We need a little more ghee. It's a lot of veggies. So, and I discovered that I really like cooking in these big pots that they have here in the apartment, because it's just so much easier to just keep adding things and not worry about volume. And so this is good. Oh, that ghee smells so good. So good, 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 good. All right, so we're just gonna add all of our veggies. And we got onions and carrots and cabbage. Oh, I see some zucchini, some eggplant. I mean, like, this got everything in here. We got everything in here. This is wonderful. And we just, so far we only got the ghee. We're gonna cook these guys a little bit. Oh, I lost a bit of zucchini, I guess. All right, I'm gonna let this guys cook for a bit, and then we'll keep adding more stuff. All right, and now that this is going, I'm gonna add our rice and quinoa blend. It still smells good. Yeah, it's still good enough. But we gotta use it today. Can't really delay this much more. It's gonna be a big pot. We might have leftovers for dinner. Okay, so now that we have our quinoa and brown rice combination and the veggies going, we can start adding some of our things. So let's start with some rice. I believe this is rice vinegar. Yep. Smells like it. So some rice vinegar for some nice flavor. Yeah. And then of course the secret sauce of many an Asian dish. Fish sauce. Technically this is squid sauce, but you know, same principle. A nice sprinkling. It gives it so much flavor. And you know, this is basically straight up sugar, but oyster sauce. It's really thick, so it doesn't like to come out much. And we're getting close to being done with this particular one. So maybe what I'll do is, hold on, because now it got all icky. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in here and just kind of shake it up to get the last little bit of it. And keep moving this babies around. Oh man, that fish sauce smells, offensive. That's why it's so good. It smells really bad. It's, you know, it's fermenting, rotting fish. All right, so we added some water, and then we're gonna go like this, make sure that we are getting all the goodies. Out of the all right, very good. Able to get it. And I believe now that we're getting this going, we can add our chicken. Oh, it's starting to smell so good. I'll show you guys what it looks like right now. Just a mixture of veggies and quinoa and brown rice. All right. Now let's add our chicken. And let's just get it all in there. So basically that was like one chicken breast for this, but that's not the only source of protein. We're going to be adding some collagen and some pea protein to this to increase the nutritional value, the protein value of the meal. So we're going. Let's see. We got our fish sauce, our rice vinegar. We did the oyster sauce. I believe now we can go ahead and just do our coconut. Oh, I'm also going to be adding some of these dry mushrooms. And I had gotten some before. It's these guys. They're like little trumpet mushrooms. And then these are dried shiitake mushrooms that I got from the Asian store. So I'm just gonna use a mixture of the two. These guys are hard to break apart. So just add a little bit. And then we're also going to be adding some powdered ginger. Ooh, pungent. Some powdered ginger to the mix. And we're also going to be adding some granulated garlic because I couldn't find garlic powder for the dressing that I wanted to make on Friday. Couldn't find it, so this granulated garlic is the closest that we got. And now we're gonna add this coconut milk. It's starting to stick a little bit. So just all of it, all the coconut milk that we have left. Probably need to add some water, but this is gonna give us enough richness for this. All right. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be good. Going to be good. But yeah, we're definitely going to need some water in here to cook everything. Yeah, and that's basically it. I guess I can do the water here in the coconut container just so that it gets more of the coconutty flavor. Shake a little bit, and we go in with it. Yeah, a little bit. This little milkiness to the water. It's not a bad idea. And we cook, and we cook, and we cook, and we cook, we cook. Make sure that the chicken gets cooked all the way through. And our veggies. And yeah, that's it. Now we just sort of let it do for a little while. But this is going to be good. I was almost forgetting the most important part, the curry. So we have some leftover yellow curry and some leftover green curry. We're just gonna use whatever is left for this because they've been in the fridge for a bit long now. Just don't know that we should be. But it is hard to get all of it out. I'm gonna try to do as much as we can. All right. And then in here as well. Oh, I hate that. My hands are slipping. And then I get the, now we just want to get all of it out. Like this. It's not perfect, but no, good enough, I guess. Just this stuff is so expensive here. Don't want to waste too much, but also Jolima doesn't really like the really spicy stuff, so I'm not as motivated, I guess, to get this out. Oh, it does smell really good. Let me lower the temperature. And add these guys, and then at the end, the last thing we're going to add is the pea protein and the collagen, and that'll help us solidify, or I guess thicken the curry a little bit. but it no doubt is going to be a very flavorful little soup. All right, and we're adding our pea protein that we got here in Argentina. It's an Argentinian company. This shit is expensive here, but we're gonna add a fair amount, a couple of these tablespoons that are more than a tablespoon. Okay, and then we're also gonna add our collagen. Now this stuff thickens everything, and it's got a pretty mild flavor. I don't want to say it's flavorless, although I mean it's technically supposed to be flavorless. It's not really isn't flavorless. It has a mild flavor. I don't know that I would want to try this. This thing also doesn't close properly. I don't know that I would want to have this in a what's it called? The smoothie, like a sweet smoothie with fruits and stuff. I don't know that that would be my thing, but for this, that's pretty good. You know, there's so much flavor going on in here that... And then, of course, we're going to add our collagen. And this is hydrolyzed collagen peptides. You know, again, we want to increase the nutritional profile of this. This thing doesn't close properly. Oh well. All right. And that concludes, I guess, other than the lime that we're due, like a fresh lime to serve it with, that concludes the curry, the kitchen sink curry that just has so much stuff. It is just very nutritious kinds of veggies and mushrooms and curry and coconut milk, pea protein, collagen, chicken, ghee, fish sauce. I mean, this thing has everything. Everything. All right, I'm gonna let it just kind of cook a little bit longer, and then we'll go ahead and serve, and I'll show you guys. All right, and this is our final result. Jolima was making fun of it, saying like, it looks hideous. Like it looks kind of gross and disgusting. But it's so good. She said it looks like that in the movies when they're in prison, and that prison food where they just... She said this is what it looks like, but it is going to be super tasty. I think it's going to be a little bit spicy. I don't think she's going to be very happy at all with the spiciness, but...
Está muy spicy. ¿Sí?
Pero voy a probar. She's like, is it really spicy? No.
¿No está muy spicy?
No, it's good. It's very good. Oh, this is really good. Really good, good, good. All right. Well, we are going to eat our lunch, and I will see you guys a little bit later. All right, and wouldn't you know it, we are having leftovers for dinner. I made enough for 2 meals, and I gotta tell you, this doesn't look very appetizing at all. It smells amazing, but I am going to give this a taste. We got some hot. Oh, so good. Got even better with the delicious. So this will wrap it up for us today. Tomorrow we're going to ping pong. So we'll see if I can get up early again and we can go for a little walk, just kind of get us. And then, but it was a good day today. There was a lot of productivity and overall I felt good. So let's close out for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.